What is up, everyone? I am Demon Cringe, and today I got some really awesome gaming news. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my very first gaming news video. I really wanted to start doing these for quite some time and all that, and now I got some pretty awesome news about Cyberpunk 2077. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, recently one of the developers at PAX Australia talked about features of the game, multiplayer, future of the studio, and more. So yeah, let's get on with it, shall we? It says, CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 is one of 2020's most anticipated games, and it came to PAX Australia this week, a big way for its public showing in the country. On PAX Australia Day 1, CD Projekt Red filed the Melbourne Convention Centre's biggest theater with excited fans to get a special treat of seeing nearly an hour's worth of gameplay footage that showed off more of a Night City and a number of new abilities. Also in Melbourne for PAX was CD Projekt Red's John Mamais, the head of the company's Krakow office. The studio is creating about 1/3 of the game's content, while it also developed the game's new cutscene technology and other aspects of the title. GameSpot spoke with Mamais, who has been with the CDPR since 2011, when he was a producer on The Witcher 2, and he told us more about the issues like potential censorship from Australia's classification board, multiplayer support for Cyberpunk, and a possibility of a Nintendo Switch port. That is something that I'm also pretty curious about. You know, the Nintendo Switch definitely showed itself to be a pretty capable little console and all that, and it will be interesting to see if a port does come out as to how it will perform compared to the other releases. And potential censorship of Cyberpunk in Australia, Mamais said he does not think the game will have any issues clearing the local classification board like other titles, including South Park: The Stick of Truth, have in the past. Well, I really do hope that he's correct, because let's face it, you know, politically speaking, Australia is basically the epitome of a nanny state. So yeah, I hope all of the Australian gamers out there won't be having any censorship issues with Cyberpunk. Over here we have a quote from the guy himself, who said, "I was concerned about censorship because I know Australia has issues with drugs, and the other thing is sexualized violence. There are two things that can kill your product in Australia," Mamais said. But I've been looking into over the last couple of days. It seems like we're safe. You don't get rewarded for using drugs as far as I know in the game. The player does not do any kind of sexualized violence at all, where it's really tasteless, so we wouldn't do anything like that. And of course it also talks about how CD Projekt Red has finally expanded to the point where they are able to work on multiple AAA games simultaneously, which will be really awesome, because yeah, we definitely need more great games from companies like CD Projekt Red and all that stuff. We really want the Goliaths, the monopolized Goliaths of the gaming industry, to be basically quivering in fear, like, you know, EA and Activision. It also says that CD Projekt Red could be working on a potential multiplayer Cyberpunk game, which is really cool in my opinion. And it could also be a new Witcher title and a brand new IP, a licensed game, or something else entirely. And I'm pretty curious about that whole something else entirely. We're gonna have to wait a little bit on that, but it sounds pretty cool, I gotta say, for now. And of course we also have a few more quotes from the developer, which goes, "It's public knowledge that we want to make multiple AAA titles at the same time in the company. We haven't been able to, but now we're growing to a certain point where we might be able to at the time in the future, or at least we hope so. I hope so too. We'll see how well Cyberpunk does. It's not for me to say that they'll be, but I can tell you I hope they'll be. I like Cyberpunk. I like to keep making Cyberpunk games. I also like The Witcher. I like to keep making Witcher type games." A little bit of repetition there, but yeah. It could be anything, some new IP or some licensed IP, who knows, it's not decided yet. Well, of course, I really do hope that Cyberpunk does as well as it can, because it's definitely looking to be absolutely badass, if I do say so myself. It also says Cyberpunk 2077 is set to launch April 2020, which is a few months before the PlayStation 5, which is now officially confirmed. With the next generation Xbox, we are expected to see release holiday 2020. Mamais didn't confirm if Cyberpunk will be upgraded or improved for these consoles. He said a more powerful system will afford CD Projekt Red a number of new and exciting opportunities. In all honesty, when it comes to the whole new consoles thing, my advice to them is basically just to focus as much as you can on the PC, because the consoles will always be inferior, you know, in technical capabilities. No offense to any gamers that just prefer to play on console, but it's just the objective truth, so there you go. We also have some more quotes from Mamais himself, who says, "It's going to be awesome. It's always cool to have new consoles coming out, and I can't wait to work on those things. We will see what we can do with those. It's fun to watch games evolve. They're looking more and more realistic, which is, I like working on games like that. The more powerful the technology or the consoles, the more is good for me as a game developer. And I think all of us can agree with that. You know, the better technology gets, you know, the more immersive and amazing games we can get, you know, both mechanically and of course graphically, whether they be realistic or stylized cartoonish graphics and all that. Now, I won't be really going through the entirety of the article, you know, some of it is, you know, basically the, you know, same thing quoted again, and of course a little bit of reminiscing about things like hitting the, you know, April release date, and of course the potential censorship and blah blah blah. Now, there is actually one section of the article, you know, with the Q&As with Mamais himself that I would like to read out and talk about, and it's about feature creep, and it says, it's very controversial in a way for game development in general. Feature creep, how do you control it? Sometimes you can control it and sometimes you can't. It depends on the direction. We should do something whoever thinks we should do, and it shouldn't fit the schedule. It's like if it's good enough, you have to make it fit the schedule, and by pushing something else to confront the idea in the way. He said, quote, "Okay, we're not doing that, we can't afford it. Unfortunately, it's not black and white. Sometimes you have to do everything and it requires more work." And this is definitely something that is a prevalent, you know, thing in gaming and all that. Feature creep, we all know what it is. If you don't know, it's basically when a game, you know, goes through development and all of a sudden, you know, the studio wants to include all of these like elaborate features and all that, you know, and then later on they were like, oh well, we have more money and we want to include this and that and this and that and this and that, and it basically turns into this, you know, perfectionist development hell. Hopefully Cyberpunk is not going through that, and honestly I don't think it really is. I think they're, you know, doing the best that they can, and if some features, you know, that, you know, some people were expecting aren't really in there, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people will understand and all. They do have a set release date and they're trying to stick to that, and if one delay actually does end up happening, I do think that the only reason it's happening is because you know, they found some faults, you know, maybe some game-breaking glitches and bugs that they want to iron out, instead of just, you know, saying, oh well, you know, let's pile on this other feature, you know, a little bit before the release and, you know, just delay it because of that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, there is a little bit more in the article, you know, talking about things like the possible Switch port, you know, the Netflix Witcher TV show, which in all honesty I'm not really excited at all, to be totally honest. A little bit about Keanu Reeves being in the game and all that. You can read about it, you know, by clicking the link in the description. It'll take you to this article. As for me, that's about it for today. I really do hope that you all enjoyed this little bit of news. It's my very first gaming news video, so if you have any feedback you want to give me, you know, be sure to type it in the comments below and I'll definitely take a look at it. Anyway, everyone, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, press the bell icon, and if you wish to support me in any way, pitch, link is in the description below. And as always, I am Damon Cringe, and I'll be seeing you guys and gals in the next video.